This teacher was loved by all. Then her secret life came out. The bell rang at 3:10 p.m., echoing down the long corridors of Fairview Middle School. Laughter and sneakers filled the air as students flooded the halls, calling out to friends and waving goodbye to teachers. But room 208 always emptied slower. Ms. Elara Hughes stood at her desk like a lighthouse in a storm, calm, composed, radiant in the way only someone with a quiet heart could be. Students adored her. She made poetry feel like music, made silence feel safe. She remembered every child's birthday, their pets' names, their parents' jobs. Elara wasn't just a teacher. She was the one person every kid in that school knew they could count on. So when the letter came, it didn't make sense. It was handed to her on a Friday afternoon by Owen Keller, the quiet kid with the restless fingers. He didn't say a word, just slipped the envelope onto her desk and walked out. No name, no return address. A single sheet of thick parchment with one typed sentence. "Do they know what you did in Denmark?" Her breath caught in her throat. She didn't open it in front of anyone. She waited until she got home, alone in her tiny one-bedroom above the flower shop, then sat on the edge of her bed and read it again and again. By midnight, it was torn into pieces and flushed down the toilet. But the words remained, and the past was no longer buried. Monday came, and she arrived at school with her usual calm demeanor, but her eyes flicked to every doorway. Her hand trembled as she wrote the word resilience on the board. Principal Dorsey pulled her aside that afternoon. "I got an email," he said, hesitant. "A journalist from Denmark claims you were involved in something overseas. A school incident. You changed your name, they say." She forced a breath. "I've never been to Europe." He nodded slowly, unsure, but didn't press further. For now. But someone else was. The next morning, Owen Keller lingered after class. "Did you get the letter?" he asked, his voice low, careful. She froze. "What letter?" He stared at her, no smirk, no malice. Just curiosity. "My uncle sent it," he said. "He said you taught at his school in Aalborg." That word hit her like ice water. Aalborg, place she hadn't heard in over 10 years. Her knees buckled. She caught herself on the desk. "I think you have me confused with someone else," she whispered. But she knew he didn't, because Owen wasn't just any student. He was the nephew of someone she once failed. 10 years ago, she wasn't Ms. Hughes. She was Elara Hughes, a literature teacher at a small private academy in northern Denmark. The school was prestigious, secretive, and known for its academic rigor. She loved the students there, especially one named Jannik Keller, a boy with a gift for storytelling, a boy who confided in her, a boy who said a staff member was hurting him. She reported it. She begged the headmaster to act. But the staff member was the headmaster's brother, and Jannik Keller was labeled a liar. 2 weeks later, Jannik disappeared. His body was found in the forest 2 months later. The school called it a suicide. Elara didn't believe that then, and she didn't believe it now. Her grief turned to fury. She quit. She spoke out, and was silenced. The school threatened legal action. Her visa was revoked. She returned to the U.S. quietly, changed her last name, and tried to rebuild a life dedicated to protecting children, making up for what she couldn't prevent. But Jannik's family never forgot. And now Owen, his nephew, was sitting in her classroom, looking at her like a question that still hadn't been answered. The journalist from Denmark didn't go away. He flew to Fairview, knocked on neighbors' doors, sat outside the school in his rental car. One teacher finally spoke to him, and days later, Principal Dorsey received a formal complaint from the school board. The media caught wind, and then the letter came out. It was printed in the local paper, complete with her name, her photo, and the phrase, "Former Danish schoolteacher under scrutiny for hidden past." Parents were outraged. Some students were pulled from her class. Her inbox flooded with threats, demands, questions. Still, she stayed silent, until Owen handed her another letter. This one handwritten. It read, "You were the only one who believed him. My family was angry for years, but I know what he told you was true. I need to know what really happened. Please." She looked up at Owen, and for the first time she spoke the truth out loud. I tried to save him. I wasn't strong enough then. Owen's words lit a fuse. He recorded her conversation, not to expose her, but to finish what his family never could. He gave the recording to his mother, Janek's sister, who gave it to the same journalist now staying in a roadside motel outside town. The story went viral, not because of the scandal, but because of the failure of justice. A teacher who tried to save a boy, a school that covered it up, a system that forced silence instead of change. Elara Hughes was suspended, pending investigation, but she wasn't ashamed anymore. In a press interview, she finally told the full story. Every name, every meeting, every cover-up. And when it aired, something happened no one expected. Other students from the Danish school came forward. 4, then 9, then dozens, each with stories of silence, fear, shame. And suddenly, Elara wasn't the villain anymore. She was the whistleblower, the survivor, the woman who dared to tell the truth when it cost her everything. Room 208 is empty now. Her desk is still there. The board still reads resilience, faded but visible. A student draws hearts in the dust. There's a petition taped to the door. Bring back Ms. Hughes. Owen walks by every day. Sometimes he leaves a note inside, quotes from his uncle's old stories, poems he's written himself. He says he wants to be a teacher, not because the world is kind, but because people like her taught him that even when it's not, you still show up. You still fight. And in the end, Elara Hughes was loved. Not because she was perfect, but because she told the truth, even when no one wanted to hear it.